Have more now on the child sex abuse scandal that led to last night's firing of legendary Penn State football coach Joe Paterno, which touched off a massive protest on campus by about 2,000 students. Authorities say the case against former Paterno assistant Jerry Sandusky follows a similar pattern. Adults in positions of power exploiting children after gaining their trust.
So what do we need to do to break that cycle and protect our kids? Joining us now, David Clohessy of SNAP, the Survivors Network of those abused by priests, and former National Hockey League All-Star Theo Fleury, whose book Playing with Fire details his sexual abuse by a coach. Good morning to the both of you. David, Theo, good to have you with us. Theo, we're going to start with you in Toronto this morning. Even though Jerry Sandusky wasn't necessarily abusing players on the Penn State team, you were abused by your trusted hockey coach for a number of years. How were you able to deal with that?
Well, not very well. You know, I went down a path of, you know, a lot of self-destruction, a lot of, you know, became an alcoholic, drug addict, you know, had a lot of relationship problems, relationship issues. So, you know, it was a difficult time in my life, but, you know, really happy where I'm at today.
How long did it take you to finally come around to telling someone in order to get the help that you so needed?
Probably about 27 years.
And what finally led you to, I guess, seek help?
Well, I was just really sick and tired and fed up, you know. I was carrying around a secret for a long, long time, and you know, I really wasn't functioning as a human being at that point in my life, and you know, had a great conversation with God on a particular night, and that was about, you know, 6 years ago, and from that day forward, my life has been fantastic, and now to be an advocate for, you know, children and keeping children safe, and you know, spreading the message, and not only that, you know, I honestly believe if you have just a little bit of hope left, you can really make a lot of great strides in your life, and you know, I'm finally at the place in my life where I have peace and happiness, and you know, it's been really an incredible journey.
Absolutely. I want to turn to you, David, because a lot of times when we see cases like this, especially when it comes to that institutional infrastructure, it's very similar to priests abusing children as well. Help us understand how long does it go on, and why does it go on for so long?
Well, sadly, abuse can go on for years with even one victim. I think there are two key factors. First of all, we have to remember that child predators are cunning, shrewd, manipulative, but also very warm, very outgoing. They're lovable people, because if they weren't, no kid would want to be with them and no parent would trust their kid. And I think the second part is that every institution has a temptation to try and police itself. And that's just inappropriate, that's wrong, it can't be done.
So is Penn State doing enough by firing Paterno, by firing the president? I mean, is this enough?
Absolutely not. It's a good first step. You know, heads must roll when adults conceal child sex crimes. But there's clearly a culture at the school focused on secrecy and on self-preservation. That's got to change, and that's going to be a long-term process. For starters, they've got to educate their staff and students about how to respond appropriately in this case. These rallies on behalf of the accused wrongdoer.
Yeah, what kind of message does that send?
Oh, it's a terribly chilling message. You know, right now there's a criminal investigation going on, and the staff and students at that school have to be aggressively reaching out to anybody who saw or suspected or suffered abuse by Sandusky or others. But to rally publicly around alleged wrongdoers, it just scares the dickens out of victims and keeps them trapped in silence.
Theo, I want to bring you back in for a second. When you hear stories like this, obviously not only with your case, but now with Jerry Sandusky, these are trusted figures, not only in the locker room, but also in the community. How do parents go about making sure that they can trust the coaches of the, or whether it is a priest or whether it is a coach, that parents can trust these adults that their kids spend so much time with?
Well, I think, you know, it's a tough situation, and you know, when you drop your kids off at activities today, you know, it's not a it's not a babysitting service anymore. You really have to make sure you're there, make sure you observe, and make sure that you know, your children are never ever left alone in a one-on-one situation with any coach or any manager or anybody you know, at all. Yeah. So, and the whole thing about this whole Penn State thing is nobody's really talking about the victims. Everybody's talking about Sandusky, and everybody's talking about Joe Paterno. And you know, what's the university going to do for these boys? I'm sure they have a psychology and psychiatry faculty there where they can draw on those resources and get these boys the help that they need. You know, this is, you know, it took me 27 years to come to a place of, you know, being comfortable in my own skin again. And you know, my wish is that, you know, somebody takes the bull by the horns here and reaches out to the, you know, to these boys that, you know, have gone through what they've gone through.
Yeah. Theo, thank you very much for talking with us this morning. Always good to talk with you. David Clohessy, thank you both very much as well. Theo does bring up a tremendous point here, and that gets lost in the whole translation here, is that it's, you know, it's not about football. It's not about Penn State and Joe Paterno and the president and these people. It is about these kids, and Penn State's problems are just beginning because it is all about the victims here that are involved.